Okay, I have the AuKey power extension cable and circuit breaker with it has a 6-foot cord and USB ports. Now let me just tell you a little bit about the specs and what it can and can't do. Then near the end I will show you it a little bit closer up, and then I will tell you the price and if I recommend it or not. Okay, it has not just 2 or 3 but 4 mains power slots to plug in your power cables. Then it has on the top row 4 USBs for charging your various devices such as your smartphones, your tablets, various other things that powered or charged by USB. And you have an on and off button as well. There isn't an on and off button for each of the power outlets there, but there is an overall switch to turn the whole lot on and off. You have 2 on the left, the USBs. The first 2 are 5 volt 1 amp. Then the last 2 are 5 volt 2.4 amp. Now that is pretty standard. Whenever you get something like this with loads of USBs for charging, like a USB wall charger or a power brick like this that has some USB ports, normally they're not all 2.1 or 2.4 amp. Normally a couple are 2.1 or 2.4 and then the others are 1 amp, and that's the case with this. Basically, that just means if you have something plugged into the 2.4 amps, it's probably going to charge a little quicker. So I would recommend, if you have something you really want to charge as fast as possible, such as your phone before you go out or something, you haven't got long to charge it, I'd put it in one of the 2.4s and less important things into the 1 amps. Or if time isn't really an issue, but you're charging several things overnight or in the evening, whatever it might be, I would put the more heavy duty things into the 2.4 amps, such as if you have a phone, you're charging a phone and a tablet or something, I'd have the tablet in a 2.4 and the phone in a 1 amp, unless of course those are the only 2 things you're charging, in which cases two 2.4, so you can plug your phone and your tablet into a 2.4, which is really, really good. But if you're charging loads of things, I would either put your priority things in the 2.4 or your more heavy duty things that take more power into the 2.4. So that's quite good, because I look for things like wall chargers that have at least 2.1 amps or at least 2 amps. I don't like things that are less than 2 amps, or at least not when all the ports are just that. The fact that these have 2 ports on it, which is not just 2 or 2.1, it's actually 2.4, is really, really good, because I expected before I looked into this more that a couple would be 1 amp and a couple would be like 2 or 2.1, but this is actually 2.4, which is really good. So that's good. 2 1 amps, 2 2.4 amps, plus 4 mains power outlets, and an on-off switch. And I'll show you quickly in a minute. But on the back there are those little hooky areas, so you can actually hook this onto something, like hook it onto a wall. And the cable is a good length at 6 feet. It has a total power output of 3,500 watt. It will not blow a fuse easily as well, allowing you to charge more high powered devices. It is a bit of a surge protector as well. Normally, quite often, if you get like a cheap one of these extension cord things, they are not really, there's not much in the way of surge protection, but this actually protects your electronics from dangerous surges. It is rated to withstand a power surge of up to 900 joules or 900J, and it is complete with a 3-line AC protection. It has a really good circuit design that allows for overheat protection, overcurrent protection, and overcharging protection as well. So it will prevent, if you are plugging in something into the USBs on this, it will prevent overcharging the device and ruining your phone or whatever. It does have overcharging protection via the USBs as well. And as I said, it also has overcurrent and overheating protection that prevents us from overheating, maybe not catching fire. It won't overheat and catch fire. It won't send an overcurrent to any of the things and wreck them, as well as overcharging protection, which is really, really good. It says that middle holes, according to the product information, it says the middle holes will only be opened when fully plugged in, which will make it more safe for home use. It does have 18 months of full warranty as well. It uses industry-grade plastic construction of premium circuitry. They say that they use industrial-grade plastic in the construction that will help prevent it from easily melting or catching fire. They use top-grade microchips in their chargers, they say, and the reason they make sure that they are good circuits, unlike some lesser, cheaper ones, is not just for safety, to make sure this is really safe with its overheating protection, things like that. But it also means that if the better the chip, the more chance you've got to get a good strong charge via those USBs as well. So they do use top grade materials, both industrial grade plastic for the construction and high quality microchips, which use things like overheat, overcurrent, overcharge protection, things like that. So it's a good all around extension cable that also is rated as anti-surge protector for up to 900 joules, which is really, really good. The cable length, like I say, is just under 2 meters. It's roughly 1.8 meters, which is about 6 feet. So it's got a 6 foot, approximately 1.8 meter cable, which is a decent length for most uses. Its 4 USBs have a maximum output of 6 amps altogether. Okay, here it is. You have the 4 ports up the top and 4 UK power sockets down the bottom. This is the UK type, I'm sure you're already aware of that, but just in case anybody in other countries are wondering why it's oddly shaped, this is for UK power plugs. It is actually well marked. You have a AuKey, the company name, actually branded on it, unlike some lesser products that are just sort of kind of wholesale things almost, where they aren't branded. This is branded. You then have the ports, and they are clearly marked which one's 1 amp, which one's 2.4. So you have 1, 1, 2.4, 2.4. Okay. Then you have the 4 UK power ports here, and then down the bottom it says supercharge plus 4 is what it says down there. Up here you do have off and reset, and basically what it means is off and on. So as you see, it's down on off, and then it's on when you put it to the right. Left, off, right, on. I don't know why they call it reset. Basically it just means on and off. Then on the back you have your basic label that sort of says a UKey, model number, what it is, its various currents, stuff like that for the USB and the power, that it's CE and RoHS certified, and that it's recyclable as well. It says not to Bennett though, but it is recyclable. There is a recyclable symbol there. Then on the left side here and on the right side here, you do have mounts for mounting it on something such as a wall. I'm sure you know what it looks like, but this is the cable. Here's the cable, and it's 1.8 meters, and then you get to a UK power plug, of course, on the other end. So this goes into your mains wall, or another extension cable. Though they do recommend, not this company, but I have heard that it's recommended you don't have too many chargers in other chargers. So you shouldn't really have, say, a extension cable with another extension cable into it, with another extension cable into that, etc. So to be a bit careful. Basically, this is recommended that will go into your actual main wall socket. Then you have your extension cable there. Okay, so what about the style of it, just before we finish up? It looks quite nice. There's nothing special. There isn't some really flashy design or something, but it looks nice because it's supposed to be in a flat extension cable box. It does have the bit here with the USBs kind of raised up from the rest of it. That makes it look this a slightly little bit different than the ones that are just flat. So it does look quite nice. I actually like the look of it. Nothing special, like I said, but with that raised bit where the USBs are, it does look nice. Now that might bring you to a question of, well, if it's got this raised chunky bit where the USBs are, does that stop you plugging some things in? Like maybe one of those kind of Wi-Fi boosters or Wi-Fi repeaters, extenders or whatever, because they are like a little box. Instead of just being a power cable, they tend to be a box that plugs into your power socket. Well, as far as I can tell in my use, from my use, no, it doesn't. It would depend upon the design, perhaps, of your your device that you're plugging into this, like your Wi-Fi repeater. But I used the Devlio Wi-Fi repeater AC model, and I've plugged it into this. And if you plug it into one of these first three, yes, it does cover up some of the USB ports, so you couldn't plug some into USB port. But if you have it into the far left port here, it only covers up the power button, which doesn't really matter. But it does just sit over the top of that lump. This lump where the USBs are, the Wi-Fi repeater box does sit over that, so it isn't. It's not blocking that, so that's good, because I thought perhaps that lumpy bit with the USBs, if you try plugging something like a Wi-Fi repeater in there, that lumpy part might block the box from plugging all the way into the power socket. But with the one I have, no, it doesn't. Okay, so how much does it cost? Well, some of these kind of extension cables can be really cheap because all they do is have a few sockets on it and that's it, and they're cheaply made. This one is a little bit more. He's £20 or $19.99 in the UK, and if he is available in the US on the US Amazon store, I will put the price as a text overlay on the screen in the US dollars as well. But he is £20, and that is still quite affordable. It's not a ridiculous price. It's still quite affordable, and the reason he costs more is because he is really good to have, because even if you don't want those USB ports, even if you don't care about the USB ports, it has good overheat and overcurrent and protection, and it's made with high quality plastic and microchips. So it also has that surge protector of 900 joules, and that is just so good, because like I say, even if you don't care about the overcharging protection for the USBs and you're not going to use the USBs, you still have not just a extension cable here, but you also have a surge protector of up to 800 joules for surge protection, and it's made from quality components. So I do actually recommend, even if you don't want to use the USBs, even if the USBs are not important to you, you still get this as a good surge protector and an extension cable. It's also well thought out, because not only do you have all the quality components and bits and bobs of circuit protection and overcharging protection and a switch, which not all have an off switch, it also has the wall mounts, the little mount holes on the back, and not all have that. Yes, I've seen quite a few that do, but I've also seen a few that don't. Okay, something I'd just like to mention about it's got good build quality and stuff like which I actually just mentioned and stuff. But I just actually filmed this separately. I filmed the main review and I forgot to mention this, but I think it's good to know. A lot of you may not care, but I have had USBs before. USB either cables or the ports like on this, where they have been really weak and the cable has either fallen out. I've put some in the charge and the cable has fallen out and not finished, and it hasn't been charging all the time. I've like plugged it in, left it, and obviously as soon as I've left, the cable's dropped out and it hasn't been charging. Or sometimes the cable will stay in the socket, but it will be so weak that it won't get a very fast or proper charge. Well, that is not the case with this. One of the first things I check when I get some sort of USB wall charger, things like that, is how firm the cable stays in. And the cable, you have to give a little push. You have to actually push a little bit to get them in the USBs on this. And if you try to wiggle it, it is firmly in the USB ports. And then when you go to pull the cable out, you have to give it a little bit of a tug because it's in there so snugly. And that is really good. I always look to see if a USB cable needs a little tug to come out on a USB wall charger, or any USB charger, because if it does, that is a good sign that this is in firmly and it's got to charge properly, probably with good speed and not have any kind of interference, no problem there. And this is the case with these ports. These ports are great. The USB ports, you have to push them in a little bit to get them in. You have to pull them a little bit to get them out. So they work well. They are in solid, they are in firmly, and that is really great. So it's really good surge protector and extension cable with USB port. So I do really recommend it. A link will be in the description. Please like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you could do me a huge favor, and if you're watching this as a review on the Amazon product page, please hit the yes button next to was this review helpful to you. That will help me out a lot. Thanks for watching.